Namaste to all from India and all across the globe. I know that guests joining us from Canada, from USA. So welcome to the 8th session of Jnana Vaividya, a 14-week Vocational Diversity Speaker Series conceived by our District 3190 Vocational Service team led by Rotary Dr. P.M. Radhakrishna. On behalf of our DG, Rotary Nagendra Prasad, District 3190 Vocational Service team, and lead club, Rotary Bangalore, Whitefield Central. I am Manoj Kabre, welcoming you all. We have carefully curated this series to bring selected speakers who have done excellent work in their vocation and are able to share their extensive knowledge with all of us. Special welcome to our today's speaker, Professor Damodaran from IIM Bangalore. Special welcome to our chief guest today, Rotarian Mohan Ramanathan, Chairman, Rotary Global Awards, District 3190. And a very special welcome and mention of the 10 guest clubs who have partnered with us today for this event. Warm welcome to all my co-presidents, Rotarians, as well as friends of Rotary who have taken special time to join this session. Friends, our vocational service team at 3190 believes in our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's vision. The more we give importance to skill development, the more competent will be our youth. And hence, a lot of focus on skill development. This team led by our Vocational Service Director, Dr. P.M. Radhakrishna, comprises of subcommittees such as Vocational Diversity and Award, VTT and Friendship Exchange, Skill Development, Startup and Entrepreneurship, Four-Way Test, Business Development, Career Advancement of Rotarians, Career Guidance, People of Action, and Rotary Action Groups. So with that background, I would now request Rotarian Prasanna to introduce our chief guest before he starts his session.
Manoj, I think Prasanna just could not missed it. Okay. I think he got logged out again.
Oh, okay.
Some network issue.
Okay. Let me take this opportunity to introduce our chief guest today. Professor Damodaran belongs to the Economics and Social Sciences area at IIM Bangalore. His areas of specialization include sustainable development, IPR management, creative industries, and distributed network technologies, of course, including blockchains, IoT, and AI. Professor Damodaran was awarded the prestigious Homi Bhabha Fellowship of Tata Foundation in 2004, the Dewang Mehta Award for Best Teacher in Economics in 2016. He was Obama Singh Fellow at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill in 2015. He has worked with the Government of India, the US-EPA, the International Institute of Sustainable Development in Winnipeg, and has been a visiting fellow or professor at the University of California, Berkeley, working on cleaner production technologies. He has taught at St Petersburg State University in Russia, the United Nations University in Japan, and the University of Wageningen, the Netherlands, the University of Bonn in Germany, and the University of Manitoba in Canada. He is the author of more than 50 international publications in peer-reviewed journals. He has also 2 sole-authored books published by Tata McGraw-Hill and Oxford University Press. So here, with great pride and honor, I am pleased to present to you Professor A. Damodaran from IIM Bangalore to share with us information and curious information on blockchain technology. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and many thanks to the Rotary District 3190 for inviting me to Jnana Vaividya, diversity of knowledge, if I can put it that way. And I'm really honored that you have chosen me, and of course, a topic which is called blockchains is something which has engaged the attention of everyone. And it is nice that you have chosen me to address on that particular topic. Now, the thing is, I will, how much time do I have? 30 minutes, right?
Yes, sir.
So that means 7:05 I conclude. I mean, 7 o'clock I'll conclude because there should be some questions and all that. So
Yes.
I hope we are all on the same page on that. Now,
Yes,
when I came here, one of the very senior participants, Mr. Kulbir Dod, he was having a chat with me, and he asked me, what is this about blockchains? Can you put it in a simple language? And he wanted me to tell me in a very simple way what blockchains meant. So I was just avoiding him because, you know, if I had said that, then there was nothing left for me to say after that. So I very cleverly avoided him. Then, you know, I don't know whether I'm clever enough to avoid him, but still, I thought I have avoided him. But then fortunately, Manoj came and had a conversation with him. So on a lighter note, let me say that your expectations are that I should demystify, make it as simple as possible, what blockchains are. So I will, I have this habit, we are all in academics, we have this habit of getting into PowerPoint display, and I think I will get into that, not to bore you with too much of it, but let me start off by with a small PowerPoint display, which also explains what it is all about. So let me get into, yes. This is the topic, blockchains and their economic impacts. So I will get into this. See, I think, you know, you asked me a question, Mr. Kulbir, you asked me a question, what is blockchain? This is blockchain. This is all about the blockchains of your era. I hope I have clarified. Your era is a bygone era. Sometimes I feel that we miss those that era. But this is this gentleman who is doing all this work. He is doing on, you know, he is a moneylender, accountant of a moneylender who could be also a moneylender himself. This is a very good picture of made by the French artist, French photographer, who has written about the mirror of India. He took many photographs, and I thought I picked this up. He was not. He produced this book in 1977. Blockchain, the idea of blockchain was not even there. But I thought this summarizes what we are doing today is exactly what this gentleman was doing many years ago with these all long sheets of paper. And he's entering it. If you look at it, he's entering every small loan that he has given, how much of interest is given. And this big yellow sheet, this big yellow sheet is actually the blockchain. And he's writing on the blockchain today, in today's parlance, you know, in today's language, this is what he would say. So blockchain is what? In a very simple way, it is a ledger. It is a ledger that you see here. In good old days, the ledger used to be very long. Then the information technology came and said they used a different term, spreadsheets. Now this is the old spreadsheet of India, 1970s and before 1970s. This was a spreadsheet that we were using. After the IT revolution in India in 1980s and 1990s, you started using a different term. Instead of ledger, you use the term, or accounts book, you use the term, you know, spreadsheets and etc. Now the point is, spreadsheets have also now evolved, and the latest terminology is, I mean, I'm putting it in a simple way, is called the blockchain. So blockchain is nothing but this sheet, this big huge accounts book, or the ledger. Ledger is nothing but a book of accounts. The only difference is here you can see the yellow color of the good old days, this ledger. You can see all these entries that he has made. Some entries are wrong, some entries are right, some entries are misleading. Only people who borrow money will be able to tell you what it is. But the blockchain, you don't get to see anything. It is digital. So by digital is meant invisible, intangible. So blockchain is nothing but, let me summarize it in a very simple way. It is nothing but a digital ledger. The ledger which you were using not so long ago in this shape that you see in the diagram. And today it is the same thing existing within inside a computer It is intangible. You don't get to see it. Okay. So this is the first point. I hope, Mr. Kulbir, I have defined it in the simplest way possible. Have I? Okay, I presume that he is okay with it. So let me go into what is this blockchain about. It is about economics of blockchains, or the economic impact of blockchains that I am talking to you. Well, what is a blockchain? Is nothing but a digital ledger, a digital file. They call it digital file, but it is a digital ledger into which transactions are put in. Now all kinds of transactions are put in. Now I am sending 500 or say 5,000 rupees to Mr. Rajaram. It is done electronically, it is done digitally, and the details of the transaction are recorded in this ledger. And then that means it's a blockchain driven transaction. Good old days, what used to happen is I use my bank, State Bank of India, which I have my accounts, and I want to transfer money to one of our friends who has joined from Canada, and I have to transfer it, and I do it through the SWIFT. You know, you have heard about SWIFT. SWIFT is a kind of transfer mechanism for money through the banking, from one bank to the other, one bank in one country to a bank in the other. So the problem with SWIFT as an operation was that SWIFT took a long time. I mean, these days it doesn't take much time, but SWIFT takes some time for the money to land up, and then it takes a longer time for that to be confirmed to you that the money has reached. So I remember not so long ago in 2007 and 2008, when I used to go for these academic assignments, which was spread out in Germany and all that, they used to pay me some fee. I mean, they used to pay me for the fee for that, and that fee would be transferred through the SWIFT account, and then it comes to the headquarters of the State Bank of India, which is located in KG Road or in Bangalore, you know, one of the main branches. From the main, because that is the only branch which is authorized to deal with SWIFT payments. So it comes there, then it gets relayed to my branch in whichever place it is. All this takes some time. And sometimes they trace the document and say in the computers, they will trace and say, oh, I'm not able to detect the money. When did the Germans send it to you? Then I have to write to them. I have to send a mail to them and find out when did you send? But you are not able to track. These days, of course, SWIFT has improved. It is about 1 to 2 days. But the advantage of a blockchain-based transaction is that if I am transferring money from my account to a friend of mine in Canada, I know his bank account. It is supposed to be done in an hour's time. Now, this is the other advantage of a blockchain. So what is a blockchain? Again, to repeat it, it's a digital ledger. Now, what are the economic inputs of the economic impacts of blockchain? I will not put you through too many slides and all that. It is basically every blockchain, a digital ledger, creates money. You know, what do I mean by saying creates money? It creates money because a blockchain, if there is a transaction of the type that I described, 5,000 rupees going from here to converted to US dollars and delivered to someone in Chicago, that money reaches there and it is sent through the ledger system. All the details are recorded in the ledger system, and it goes, and the ledger system is very strongly closed in the sense that it is secured through an algorithm, a mathematical puzzle, which you are using, which a set of few people are working on it. They close the transaction, they close and secure the ledger, and after that, that's a very tough activity. It requires a mathematical solving. You need advanced computers to do it. So as a result of all that, they are paid some money for that, a monetary reward. The monetary reward that they get for securing a block, putting a transaction into a block, ensuring that it is not tampered with, is exactly the reward for ensuring that your transmission mechanism is foolproof. If foolproof, it doesn't make a mistake. Very often in the case of SWIFT, what happens is we are always at a risk. You quote the account's number wrongly, it will land up in somebody else's account, right? Or it will lie in some dead account. These things are avoided by blockchain. It is a foolproof transmission of means of payment. And for doing the technical part, the computation part, or the mathematical puzzle, which enables a ledger to be very strong, you can't tamper with the data. I have transferred money, but my details may not be there. It will be encrypted in the form of a alphanumeral, 1, 2, 3, 4, or a code. So all that a person who sees this, that ledger can only see two codes. One code that is the center of the money, and the receiver of the money will be another code. So, but the receiver and sender know exactly who those persons are, and that is the advantage of a blockchain. And in no time, he gets the money. So this is the biggest thing. So for doing that computation and closing that that ledger, the person who is doing it is called a miner, M-I-N-E-R, the person who mines gold mining. You have heard about it. So that mining is a tough activity. A lot of maths is involved. It's a puzzle which has to be solved. He is rewarded what is called as bitcoins. So the reward that he gets for closing a blockchain is called a bitcoin. So bitcoin is nothing but money. So money of very high value. Why is it of high value? Because you don't issue like Indian rupee or US dollars. You don't just keep on releasing money from the banking system. Now, we all know that money is created by printing currency, or it is done through credit creation in the banking system. This is not like that. Every time you get money only if you solve a puzzle. Now, what does this Bitcoin miner do with that money? He goes to the market. He may convert it into, he goes to the market in places like Japan. I have seen it myself. Maybe you have also seen it. Every small retail chain like 7 and all that, that retail chain 7, if you go there, there's a Bitcoin kiosk. So what I do is I just put the QR code, it recognizes that thing, and the money is transacted, very much like a digital transaction within India, what Google Pay and others are doing. But it is much more secure, supposed to be secure, and no one person is controlling the process. What happens in Google Pay is, though Google Pay is a very robust system, a few people are controlling the administration of this. In Bitcoin, nobody is in control. Everybody is also in control. It's a kind of a very interesting philosophy, because if nobody is in control, everybody is in control. If everybody is in control, then nobody is in control. That is a kind of a thing. So it is not a banking system money. It is generated by an autonomous community of people, you and me and any of us sitting in this forum. We could all be we could be miners if we are good at, miners means closing the blockchain, solving the problem, or we could be watching the transactions and confirming whether this particular person who has sent the account, you don't know who that person is, whether there could be an account of that type in State Bank of India, Bangalore, and is the ANZ Bank in Canberra, is there a place like ANZ Bank which is in Canberra? So a community sits and verifies whether the transaction is correct or not. This is not done by officials. It is done by the community of people who know a thing or two about how interbank transactions are happening. So this is the sum and substance of the manner in which blockchains were originally invented, not invented, I would say innovated in 2008. Now 2008 is a watershed year because we had the world economic crisis. So what happened was during that year, people were fed up with fiat currencies, that is our regular currency, US dollar, etc. They found that this US dollar is useless, and inflation is very rife. Bankers, they give bad loans. Insurance companies are taking positions which they are not able to cover. So all that blockchains came as a response to the crisis in the monetary system, and that is where its economic relevance came. So unless you mine, you don't get money. So money supply is not like paper currency. You keep on issuing it and sending it to people, or sending it through helicopters to be dropped at every house. It cannot happen in a blockchain. Supply is restricted, and in many ways, it is like carrying a gold coin in your pocket. So if you look at the Bitcoins, which is the first cryptocurrency, because it is all done, I told you, anonymity of name, anonymity of sender, you put a digital signature, you are indicated by a number which is hard to crack. So everything is anonymous, and therefore everything is called crypto. It is something which is hidden. But at the same time, transactions are facilitated. Now the advantage is, since transactions happen in no time, the cost, these days we are all worried about banks, they charge for everything. If you issue a checkbook, if you issue a check, they will charge for that. If they do any transaction for you, it is charged. But in the case of the blockchain, yes, there is a transaction fee, but that transaction fee is very minimal. This is the advantage of it. So so to repeat it, 2008, it was designed originally, blockchains as a digital ledger, which will record transaction of money between a person like me and another person. So this was the idea. Now, after that, blockchains have evolved between 2008 and 2012. These blockchains went beyond, and beyond transfer of money business, they got into smart contracts. Now, contracts are always signed between, in every economic transaction, there is a vendor who is supplying goods to a company. That vendor and the supplier, the receiver is supposed to be under a contract. But these contracts are all secured legally in conventional methods. But in a blockchain, it is digitally stored. So the contract that I sign with somebody is digitally stored. And my signature is not my regular signature, it will be a digital signature. Now, what is digital signature? Digital signature has many meanings, but in the context of blockchains, and the currencies that come out of it, digital signature is an alpha-numeral code. So it doesn't mean you go and sign it and then you put it in the computer. It doesn't happen that way. So the smart contract system is the other big thing. So all the supply chains in the world, the food safety chains, Alibaba, Chinese company, it is good at it. Walmart has got into it. And almost every multinational company in the world is getting into blockchains. And you will also know shipping companies are also getting into blockchains because they ship, for instance, if they're shipping spices from, from Coorg, Coorg has got cardamom. So that is being exported maybe through Mangalore port. Now, if it is exported through the Mangalore port, at every stage, a blockchain will tell, okay, it has got from Mangalore, it has docked at Colombo. From Colombo, it's a larger port. So it has been loaded to a mothership. Our ports are not that big for except Mumbai and the big ports. All other ports are small. So you go to a mothership. From the mothership, it has been offloaded. It has been put in this container. Moisture level will also be recorded. At that time when you send it, the moisture content was only, say, 15%, which was well within the statutory limit. But after it got boarded from Colombo, it says it increased to 25%. So your import, this is all entered in the digital ledger. Now, digital ledger, you don't get to see it. You are just keying it into the computer and closing it through this mathematical process. So supply chains, the one big advantage is most of the commodities, when in India, we were exporting a lot of spices, we are exporting a lot of food items, and we got into big problems in Europe as well as in North America, as well as other parts of in East Asia like Japan, Southeast Asia, North Asia, all are big markets. We always were under a tension, lot of tension. Exporters did not know whether their products would be rejected or not. So the problem is when a particular containment, a shipment from Coorg goes from Coorg, the moisture content is a very important percentage. That consignment had only 10% moisture, well within the limits prescribed by the importer. But when it crossed in Sri Lanka, it got into Colombo to be boarded in the bigger ship. It got more content because it was not handled properly. So every time moisture content goes up, it develops what is called spores or aflatoxin. That is very bad for the consumer. So we used our consignments at the port of entry, they will just do a sample check and they find that aflatoxin content is crossed a certain limit. They will just reject the consignment. It is very bad for exporters and we used to suffer. Now we have a chance with the blockchain at every stage because it is recorded precisely and loaded in the digital ledger, which anyone can see. The importer can see, exporter can see. They can't say that, you created the problem, you exported the product from Coorg at a very high percentage. So as a result of all this, consignment rejections will come down because you store it in a digital ledger. Now you use Internet of Things, sensors and all that to record moisture content. But sensors by themselves do not ensure anything, but this digital ledger will ensure that whatever you have entered is authentic. And if it is not authentic, it cannot be tampered with. So this is the other advantage. So your exports are more secure, your money transactions are more efficient, your supply chains are going to be much better. Alibaba has done it from farm to the plate. They, at every stage, they will see if there is contamination or not. Or is the food coming from the right farm, which has been authorized, which has been certified. All this is done because of blockchain. And then the other thing is land records. Now we have Bhumi in Karnataka. Karnataka is one of the pioneers in electronicizing land records. So what Bhumi does is it puts your record of tenancy certificate, which local parlance is called. The tenancy certificate is tenant title of the land, and you enter it, and basically once you have entered, the electronic record is stored positively, and you don't have to go to Tahsildar and ask him to take those big ledgers which I showed you in the first slide. You don't have to sit, and then he can he can play around with you. You have to pay him something. I'm not saying every Tahsildar you have to pay, but that is how it is. But if you are putting it in the electronic ledger, in the digital ledger, like called blockchain, it is not just seen by the Tahsildar and the person to whom you are, I mean the person who wants a title deed, who owns a title deed. It is seen by the revenue department. It is seen even by the public. And if anybody is tampering it, it is immediately communicated. So what happens is your land records are maintained properly. Then banking fraud detection. You'll be surprised to know that we are all aware of what is happening in the Nirav Modi case. Nirav Modi case is all based on a letter of the letter LOA which was issued. I'll just take you through that. It's a very interesting case actually. A letter of undertaking. Now, letter of undertaking was issued by the Punjab National Bank, and it was issued in favor of Nirav Modi to import diamonds from Antwerp to India. But the mischief there was, because of the absence of a blockchain, they could do it, that mischief. And what is the mischief? The Punjab National Bank issued the letter of undertaking, and without the person, for an amount which was so much that the person did not have an equivalent cash margin in his deposit. Now, how did they do it? They did it through a SWIFT messaging system. SWIFT is basically, as I told you in the beginning, SWIFT is nothing but a messaging system. It sends a message that Mr. Damodaran has sent 5,000 rupees to Mr. William in Sydney. This is just a messaging system. But the banking system these days have always been covered under the core banking system. There's a platform called core banking system. Now, core banking system is supposed to vet, they have to supposed to verify every transaction. So what does it do when 500 rupees is 5,000 rupees or 50 lakh rupees is transferred? They check whether the of LOU is issued. They'll check up whether the client in whose favor it is issued does have at least 70 lakhs in his account. So CBS worked very well, core banking system worked very well. Where the problem was that they issued first an LOU for say 50 lakh rupees. His account also showed 50 lakh rupees, that or 60 lakh rupees, that was fine. But after they issued this thing, they overwrote on that. They overwrote, they made a wrong, the false and a fraudulent entry, which instead of 50,000 or 50 lakh rupees, they changed it to 250 lakh rupees. That was, and how did they convey it? Because it didn't go to the CBS system because of the architectural problem of the platform. It was directly sent through a SWIFT messaging system. Oh, we made a mistake. It is not 50,000. It is 250,000. Now, this is inconceivable if there was a blockchain. Blockchain, what would it have done? It would have entered 50 lakhs. It will show up, right? And that is verified by everybody, the core banking system, and it will also show this is the backup that he had in his account. But after that, if you're tampering it, it is impossible. In a blockchain, you can't tamper. And if you have to change your entry, then you'll have to create a new blockchain. And a new blockchain creation is not so simple because you have to create a mathematical puzzle to close it. So this is something which we could have avoided. Bank frauds can be avoided if you have a digital ledger instead of the conventional ledger. That is why explains why the blockchains are being employed by banks in a big way in India. So the other thing is consumer profiling. You go to Shoppers Stop or you go to any of these retail chains, a lot of data is collected. So which section you went, what clothes did you look at? This is all very personal information. It's not sensitive personal data. And when you come out, they ask you, what is your Aadhaar card number? You're not very comfortable dealing with it, but you give it. But you are presuming that the shop will protect you. But actually that privacy data, the shop may have good intentions, but it could be pilfered from the system. If you have a blockchain, it is impossible to filter without people knowing about it. So these are some of the great advantages. So you know where is a revenue leak happening, in which part the division is undergoing a revenue leak. Because if you you store all information about incoming receipts and outgoing receipts in a blockchain, it is there for you to see, and you can also understand the trends on a real-time basis. So this revenue leakage is cloud. So it all seems to be very good, isn't it? But it is not. The problem with blockchains is it is subjected to a lot of abuses. So money laundering, dark pool activities. So at one level, it is trying to control crimes. At another level, it falls party to the crimes. Why does this happen? Because a lot of anonymity is there in transactions. And of course, the blockchain system says that you should not reveal your anonymity because in the interest of protecting the privacy of the person. But sometimes that leads to a lot of money laundering happening. So that is the bad side of this. Now, what exactly is a blockchain? This is a diagram which has come from my own paper. I put it in a very simple way. This is your central bank, and these are the central bank would be Reserve Bank of India or Federal Reserve in the United States. You have all these are the branch commercial banks which come under that. So everything depends upon one central bank. Or alternatively, State Bank of India, the headquarters which issues you TDS, what is debited, etc. They are in charge of all the information that is coming from different branches. They're all coming into this. And they send instructions to all the branches. So if you have a compromise in this single hub, in one hub, if you have a compromise, there is a cyber attack, then everything is gone. Nowadays, we are hearing a lot more about cyber attacks. So you go for a system which is slightly better. These days, they are trying to do it in the banking system. This is called a decentralized system. Now here, what you find is State Bank of India will have all its branches. Its headquarters will be in Mumbai. And then Punjab National Bank would be having its own headquarters. They will be corresponding with different branches and other banks like this. But here again, the problem is only the headquarters of State Bank of India or Punjab, whichever bank it is, Central Bank of India, can correspond. One branch of State Bank of India may not be in a position to, they can transact, but they cannot transfer and do immediate verification if it is decentralized. Well, blockchains, what they do is something very different. They take the distributed model. It's like a honeycomb. So every point is connected to the other point. And every point knows about what is technically happening with the other points. So Punjab National Bank maybe in Pune, downtown Pune, a particular branch which is near your house, may know everything about every other branch, not only about Punjab National Bank, or it could also know about what is happening in the State Bank of India. So this is the idea, not that this is happening, this is not happening, this is called distributed network. Now in this, there are not just one person, between two persons, there's a transaction. I am sending 5,000 rupees, going by $5,000 to somebody in Australia. It is between me, that person, and the banking system, if you are going for SWIFT. Here, any transaction is done, it is watched by millions of people. $5,000 has gone from one Mr. X to another Y. So it is noted. So if that X is changing it from 5,000 to 50,000, it cannot be done. In a blockchain, as I told you, blockchain is very, very firmly secured ledger. You can't tear it, you can overwrite it and get away with it. So what happens is you create a block put certain transactions. The block has a certain capacity, now 1 MB or 2 MB or something. And once the capacity is exceeded, that many transactions, say 5 transactions have come, a lot of data gets to flow. It is not just transactions, it will also carry details of how much money was transacted, how many was, what is the previous occasion in which it was transferred like this. So they keep all the data, but the data, the files have a limited capacity. So it used to be 1 MB, then it was raised to 2 MB, 3 MB, etc. So it is stored. And once it is stored, capacity is exceeded, like your hard disk capacity is exceeded. So you close it. That is what I told you, secure it through the mathematical process. So you close the block. Now more transactions are coming. So in the new set of transactions that are coming, it will be taken up in another block. So that will also reach 2 MB capacity. Then it will also be closed through a mathematical puzzle and joined to the third one. So one block is connected to the other block, and a third block, and a fourth block, and so on and so forth. That is why it is called a block chain. It is as simple as that. So this is what I would like to explain in the time. I have already crossed my limits, but I think I have given a bird's eye view of what blockchains are about, and I am open to questions. Any questions?
Yeah, Prasanna? Yeah, wonderful, sir. Wonderful talk. I think for at least people who are not so tech savvy, I think it's a wonderful way of understanding.
Yeah, just carry home 2 keywords: ledger, digital. You cannot tamper with.
Right.
Remember the Nirav Modi case. Then you will understand what is its value. Also remember the money laundering that is happening in the name of cryptocurrency. You will understand what it is.
Right.
Can I continue the question?
Yes, yeah, please.
Yeah.
May I ask one? May I ask? Hello?
Yes, yes. Yes, Mr. Kulbir.
My first question of the record was how you explain it in a common man's language. So I am going to use some words and tell me which describes everything. It is a highly secure transaction, encrypted, secret, anonymous,
yes,
and unpredictable.
Yeah.
I think that would be the common man's
simplest explanation.
You can add some more words to it,
yeah,
which are commonly used.
Yeah.
I think that will describe block, and block is an encapsulation,
yeah,
transaction,
yeah.
and the rest I won't be able to put it that what is equivalent.
But I think you have explained it better than me. You have explained it better than me.
Yeah, Prasanna, go ahead. I think that was very nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Very good.
No, there are a few questions in the chat. Maybe it must be missed out while the conversation going on.
Okay, I
just want to just
each of them. Can you share us the PPT? I will share you the PPT. I have some problem because it is copyrighted, but I will put it in a different way and send it to you. Okay.
Mr. Damodaran, so you have gone through all those questions which was there in the chat, or do you want me to repeat it?
I think you can repeat it. I can answer it straight away.
Yeah.
One by one.
So the first question was like, who will authenticate each node when you talk about the centralized, decentralized thing? So who's going to authenticate each node?
Can I answer it immediately? I told you there are two
please.
categories of people in a blockchain. It is a community of people, not a community of government organizations. There's a community of people. Now, in this community of people, there are two categories. One is a fellow who sits and does a mathematical puzzle of closing it and securing it. They are called miners. Now, if you look at the pictures of blockchain, the Bitcoin is like a gold coin. Haven't you seen that with written B? Actually, it is not gold coin. You don't even get to see it. But you know, they want people's imagination can only be good if they show it in concrete terms. But it is a digital thing. It is part of your computer. So you get an account, you have earned 1 Bitcoin for the now the second category. So one set of people will be mining and closing it. The another category are verifiers. Verifier means, is this transaction authentic, or is that some fraudulent person doing it? There is no account, there is no State Bank of India account in the name of a person who has got 5,000, or is it not authentic? Now this is done by a set of people who are called verifiers, and not 1 or 2, there will be 50 people. So somebody will know the inside story of how State Bank of India is in a particular branch is functioning. Has it got any problems? So this is verified. This is supposed to be done not by the government. Government could also be there, but it is done by people who are supposed to know. So it is a community of verifiers. So those are the people who verify. Once they verify and say it seems to be an authentic transaction, then the transaction is closed in the first place. And then after a few transactions reach the capacity of the file, then the entire block is closed. So this is how it works.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
This is Harshini.
Yeah.
Is blockchain safe to use?
It is safe to use in the sense there are 2 types of blockchains. The original blockchain was meant to be done by a community. Now, after some time, it has changed. Companies can have their own blockchain, which is a contradiction because that was not the idea behind a blockchain. They are called permissive blockchains. So, a few people, for instance, if you're working in a company, your company can have a blockchain of its own. It's called permissive. Only a few people are identified to write. Write means enter data. And a few people are authorized to operate and close it. So this is called, this is being done by our banking system, and this is called a permissive blockchain. If it is a permissive blockchain by a reputed institution, you should be safely using it. You can register yourself as to have your transactions recorded. But if it's a permission free, which means basically you don't need any permission, anyone can be part of that community, any rank outsider can be a part of community. And you have to think a little bit before you do. How safe is Google Pay? Google Pay is absolutely safe because Google has a very robust system of verification. It has a system of encryption. Hacking is minimized. We can't say it won't happen, but Google Pay is a very robust platform because it is tested against hacking. And it is therefore, though it is linked to it, Google has got all the information about everyone in this world. And we have to believe and trust that it is authentic. Otherwise, they would not have been allowed by the government of India to function as an interface with our banking system. Then, yeah.
Share examples in healthcare domains.
Healthcare domains is very interesting. The cases are insurance claims. Insurance claims, you know, I will have fraudulent insurance claims. A lot of us claim fraudulently insurance claim for things which we have not done. Now, in a blockchain, every insurance claim is entered in the blockchain. So it is very easy for you to verify whether he has made this claim earlier in some other context. So mostly health insurance claims and the fraud committed with that is avoided through a blockchain because it carries all the records of whatever you did, which your traditional due diligence system will not be able to give. Then is a transaction secured? Of course it is secured. It is secured because the block is closed. You can't break the block. Then lose it, then anything else?
Yeah. So now when we are doing a transaction, okay, so it actually takes us to a third-party process vendors like builders, techno-process and all. So how safe are they when we are doing a transaction? Are they very secured?
They are through a blockchain. Yeah, of course they are secure. So your supply chain is secured because your vendors every bit of the data that he is putting in. So I have transferred 500, I have supplied 500 tons of aluminum to such and such company. Okay, the vendor enters it. These days invoices are done, bills are done. But if it is entered in the digital, it is not just for you to see, the two parties to see, but a whole lot of other people are seeing. And the vendor cannot go and say that, no, I did not supply or I supplied more and it was not entered because he himself is seeing and agreeing to it and a host of other people are witness to it. So it doesn't have to go to the court, the litigation, the cost of
Disclaimer says, no, the disclaimer says that when you get into a third party site, it's on your own risk.
Which one? Where?
When you're doing an online transaction.
Online transaction is not blockchain. Not all online transactions.
Under that.
Blockchain transactions are a very special, more robust, transaction. So there will be a disclaimer. Look, everyone can put it. If the block is not closed properly, if the technology is not effective, then obviously you have to put a disclaimer for that. But a traditional online transfer that we do through Amazon or Google Pay, etc., is based on a narrow set of people keeping a watch on it. They are prone to cyber attacks, but Google has a very, very robust system of protecting its platform. But that apart, you're always doing a risk. So if you look at the banking system, you look at Indian banks, beyond $10,000, they'll say they have some circuit breakers to ensure that you can't take at one point, somebody cannot enter and swipe off. Say if you have 5 lakh rupees in your account, they can't swipe off the entire thing. And it is also one thing is that when you enter the online banking system and you do it and immediately again you enter it, you're fiddling with the passwords. These are all seen that, and automatically the system will not allow you to access it. But despite all that, things may still happen. But blockchains are supposed to reduce the degree of pilferage to say something like 0.5% or less than 0.5%. Is there a transfer of money between
to any bank?
Pardon?
So the blockchains are like a third-party version to any bank. When you're doing a transaction, the blockchains are not maintained by the bank.
No, not at all. No, let me explain.
Third-party
is not. Nobody is controlling anything. The classical blockchain, right? It's called a public blockchain. This is how it was conceived. So nobody owns it, and everybody owns it. The entire community of 500,000 people in India will be owning a blockchain platform, therefore no one person is controlling it. Now the permissive blockchains that I am talking about in the context of banking system, which we have in India, is basically a compromise on that public blockchain concept. A few people identified in the State Bank of India or a company like Reliance or in Tata's, they are authorized to watch what is happening. They are authorized to write and enter the data. They are authorized to close and close a blockchain. So it is permissive blockchain. So basically, in that case, if it is a permissive blockchain, it belongs to a bank or a company. Otherwise, the classical blockchain is Bitcoin and other things. It is open. You can't ask who is the CMD of that blockchain. There is no CMD. It is all anonymous. It is a large community of people. So nobody controls. The problem with the permissive blockchain is a handful of people are still controlling it. And if they are compromised, then then everything is gone. At least that is what the Punjab National Bank story is about, right? A few people were compromised, so they indulged in this kind of thing. So to answer your question, nobody controls a public blockchain, but permissive blockchains, company-specific solutions, it's only the company which will see it. Most of our BSFI sector, banking sector,
outsourced.
Basically outsourced, but they are controlled by a handful of people. You can't be saying that it has got all these safety properties of a blockchain.
Okay, Prasanna, there are 2 people who have raised their hand. If you can ask those questions.
Yeah, so Mr. Shankar Rao.
I have got a question. You said Karnataka used the land records through
Pardon?
the system. Karnataka government did use this system for putting their land records.
Bhumi, not a blockchain. There is a whole system of Bhumi.
Okay, I was thinking it
No. That is an earlier generation technology, but it is useful. But it can again controlled by the government, right? Narrow set of people.
And how is the Aadhaar card now? Aadhaar card data is.
Aadhaar card is also not run on blockchain. It is run on a very robust UPI system, and UPI-like system. It is not a blockchain solution. They may go to blockchain, but they have not done it that way.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Justin, I think Justin Phillips has a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Justin?
If he's not there, Pranesh, you can ask your question, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So can individuals try any app where they can get an idea about how this works, or can they apply it in their own life for their own ledger? Is there such an app?
Individuals can create your blockchain. There is no doubt
Yeah.
about it. Do it DIY, do it yourself. Kind of programs, you can do it. The question, blockchain, this is something with the blockchain enthusiasts don't talk about. It's a costly exercise to do it because it has to be foolproof. The programming is simple. They do Java, they use all this programming language, but the robustness cannot be done by one or two people. It has to be a community of people because they will test it, whether it is hackable or not. So it's a bit costly to get a very robust blockchain system, but you can become a part of a blockchain platform, an individual.
Okay.
So don't try it out yourself as an individual, but as an individual company, yes, with deep pockets, you can do it. But it's not very expensive also. I think the issue is whether it will be robust enough if only a handful of people are testing it. For a information technology or a digital product to be robust, a lot of people should get in and try to hammer it and see whether it is going. That is called ethical hacking. Ethical hacking is basically a test of the robustness of the platform. An individual does it with normal capacities like us, it is not going to be simple. But if a company is doing it, they have resources to do it, they may do a better job. Who qualifies to be a miner? Well, there is a question, who qualifies to be a miner? A person who is very good in solving mathematics, algorithms. And again, earlier we used to have simple computers to do it, like the computer that you and me are using. A few GBs available. Today, you need quantum computers to do it. So mining is considered to be something, that model is now considered to be as leaving the scene. Today, these days, people are talking of permissive blockchain. Permissive means reasonably robust. There's no mining happening. They'll verify. There will be a strong community of people sitting and doing due diligence, and they do it in no time, right? It is not that it takes, you send it to a police department, then they'll take 10 days or 15 days to do it. Here it happens in no time because there are so many people, and 51% of the people say it is okay. That is it. Due diligence, the person who is sent for due diligence himself can be compromised, right? This does not happen. You can win over one person, but you can't win over 500 people. So that is how it works.
Yeah. Pranesh, can you ask a question?
You told me that the group of people will be controlled here rather than the small number. There will be any secrecy maintained in this any transaction or whatever?
I think in companies, my experience is that the companies themselves are interested in seeing that honest employees are put in. But then you don't know. I mean, it is not as secure as a situation where everyone sees everything, and therefore you can't do any hereafter without the other person knowing it. So the problem is in this chain, one block is linked to the previous block. One succeeding block is linked to the previous block. This is a huge chain. You can imagine, it's like a garland. Now, if I want to touch one, I'll have to touch everything, right? Because the data of the previous thing is carried as a header in the block. So the moment I start trying to tamper in block 3, immediately it alerts all the entire chain. So then the complete thing is shut down. That is something which is not possible in a typical ledger, which you saw that old man sitting. He can rewrite, underwrite. If you see the old movies like Manthan and all that, it is basically the accountant who manipulates and says that, no, you still have 50,000 rupees to pay. And he knows, the borrower knows that he has paid. So that cannot happen.
That cannot happen, okay. Means it's highly secure, but you cannot maintain secrecy if at all you need.
It is secure in the sense that it is secure in the sense
secret what I say, my transaction in any fashion, I want to keep it secret. I don't want to make it
allowed. That is allowed
known to one and all. Is it possible?
It is meant to be secretive. But the problem is, that is why the abuse comes, because, if I have a lot of money, legal money, and I want to transact it, blockchain appears to be very attractive because it will give you a cipher number. That's all.
Yes, yes.
But all that you will know is this money has gone from such and such point to another point, and is it an unnatural thing? What have been the kind of transactions that have happened between these 2 points in the past? And then suddenly 5 crores of rupees are transferred. So you will detect something fishy, right? So the community detects it. So once it is detected, then the question of, then they'll say this transaction is not valid.
No, what I mean to say, it may be legal, but only whatever my activity, I don't want to see that other people can.
The privacy is protected. Privacy is protected. One thing about this thing is personal data is protected.
There is no illegal activity.
No, then you are safe. If there is no illegal activity, you are safe.
Yes.
But my point is that a lot of people who do illegal activities also take to this.
No, on their risk they take. That is different.
They take it, and such people are always, enjoy taking those risks. We don't.
Yeah, can we go to Sridhar Jayaraman, please?
Yeah, just wanted your views. Is blockchain here to stay forever, or do you think some other technology will take over and it's going to disappear?
See, it won't disappear, but a new technology may happen in another 5 to 6 years. First of all, you will see, that is how IT has improved, right? We started with simple IT products, then we went for services. IT is continuously innovating. But blockchain as an idea cannot go, because we all need secure ledgers. So long as ledgers and transactions and account books are to be kept, you need blockchain as a principle. You need to make it secure. The forms of language will change, the programming will change, and new applications may come. For instance, when blockchain was invented in 2008, it was only meant for facilitating transactions between 2 individuals. But 10 years down the line, 3 years down the line, it was started using in smart contracts. Then it is used in government procurement. You have enterprise-based solutions. It is evolving. It's a stage of it. It won't completely vanish. It will have a trace and on the original idea. But if you think that, I will have a blockchain which was defined in 2019, then I will be deceiving myself, because hackers are very good in finding out new ways of breaking it. So it will be in a state of evolution. I won't say it will vanish, but it will certainly, its form may change in big ways in the next 5 or 6 years. The idea will never vanish.
Thank you. Thank you.
Prasanna, any more questions, Prasanna?
Yeah, I just had one more question.
Yeah. What is it about?
Like now we have all this apps. What you were talking about, Google Pay and all, Phone Pay, you have the BHIM app and all. How secure are they when it comes to the banking level of working?
As I told you, the bank, the Google Pay, for instance, is directly linked to your bank account, right? And the first time I used it, and BHIM also is like that. Now, the first time when I used Google Pay, I was surprised. Technically, there is nothing. Every amount that is there in your account is known to Google. But the platform knows it. But the guarantee is that it will not pass on to the normal people. Now, if I get concerned about who knows about my
all these, the reason I asked you is all these apps just have one PIN number which anybody can access with the other phone.
That is a risk. But in the case of blockchain, every time the PIN number keeps changing. And the change is, you can't decipher it, because you have to find out a certain range of values to arrive at it. That is why it is a very difficult thing. So it is absolutely robust in that sense. Now, all these stories that you hear, in that exchange, 50,000 cryptocurrencies vanished. That has nothing to do with blockchain. Cryptocurrencies are earned as a reward for it. It is stored in the traditional banking centralized system. That is why it is getting pilfered. Blockchain cannot have that. Logically, it cannot have it. The BHIM, yes, because it's a robust platform. You have to believe it, trust it. But a blockchain cannot have it. That's why the government of India now says that cryptocurrency is bad, but we'll pursue blockchain. The idea is good. idea is good because it is robust, it is technically very difficult to penetrate. And even Google is now investing in blockchains. They want to make their platform more robust.
Only thing is, when you get into all these apps, you directly link all your accounts to this.
That is happening,
Like
I will tell you, yesterday
Google Pay.
an academic paper. There is a website which says that can you give us details, otherwise we will not allow you to access. So I had to give it. They would have taken all my data. But then when I think about it, is that something which I have lost? I'm not that important a person to, I think so, to be worried about what happens to my data. You mean to say anything that the things that we are talking about, even if Mr. Manoj doesn't record it, do you think people are not hearing this? They're hearing it, right? So secrecy, privacy, these are things which are not there in any part of the world, not just in one country, any part of the world. There's nothing secret. And you know who has the best keeper of all our secrets? Not God, Google. That is also starting with G.
Great, sir. So I think we will have to stop here because I think time is short, and wonderful question answers. I think any further questions, you can always reach out to me, and we can definitely reach out to Professor Damodaran and get back the answers. So we have a contact with him, so definitely we can do that. Can I now request Rotarian Vinay to introduce Rotarian Mohan Ramanathan, our chief guest for today?
Good evening, my dear Rotarians, my colleagues and presidents, ex-presidents, and all the friends and well-wishers of Rotary. It is my great pleasure to introduce our chief guest, who himself is a Rotarian, entrepreneur, mentor, and technology consultant for digital transformation in many areas. He is basically IT educator, health, core and technology, IoT, blockchain, and artificial intelligence. Currently an entrepreneur, owning a consultancy company called Blue Sky Consulting in area of technology and technology aggregation. He's also a social entrepreneur and part of many trusts and also secretaries in many companies. His primary objective is to apply technology and elevate social issues, including the poverty. He's a past president of Rotary RT Nagar and actively participated in key projects, Sankhya in 2005. Very active during a recent COVID-19, even today, during this pandemic situation when everybody are scared to go out, he did delivered more than 10,000 desktop and laptop to government schools, distributed dry ration, cooked food, medical kits, and many other things for the social cause. Current initiative is to offer a safe water using the latest technology. This year, he's a chairman for Global Award, an unique opportunity for Rotarian to contribute to Rotary through normal purchase of goods for their household and business. Please help me to welcome our chief guest, Rotarian Mohan Ramanathan. Thank you very much, sir, for this occasion, and over to you.
Educative and knowledgeable session. I should thank Manoj and Rotary Club of Whitefield for this excellent series of lectures, along with led by Dr. Radhakrishnan. It's a very nice thing to go with all this Jnana Vaividya, and the type of questions that have come, Mr. Professor Damodaran. That that the amount of interest and everything that Rotarians are and trying to understand and also implement. So you explained very well, right, from how secure it is because of the algorithm, and then multiple areas in which it can be used. It's very interesting. And for the sake of others, they may already know. So the easiest way, that Professor Damodaran explained is a digital ledger. You can also, I know that people are worried from the question, how is it going to be implemented? You don't have to worry. You look at internet. Internet is not run by you. Internet is run by certain people, professionals. They set it up, and setting up something like that is going to take crores of rupees. Then there are people who are offering goods through that, and there are people who are users. So that is true in everything, right? From computers. If you take computers, Intel is making the chips and somebody else is assembling it, somebody else is using it, and somebody else is making applications. That's how it goes. And I can tell you from every day, I have been having discussion with multiple teams or groups where blockchain or IoT is always involved. You'll be surprised to know that so many companies are looking at it, right? From pharma, blood banks, everywhere. Imagine that, you give a donor, you give a blood or a recipient, it's all tracked and traced. So you know very well that it is authenticated blood. You can track and the donor, you can track as well the recipient in case of a problem. Or imagine that I go and get a degree certificate, it's totally authenticated because nobody else can fudge it. So if I'm going to put up, for example, my resume, my employer will know very well that it's authenticated because my degree is authenticated, my experience is authenticated, my previous company work is authenticated. All these things are pulled out and given as an authenticated system to the end user. So that is the biggest advantage. And there is a big thing like McKinsey says, for example, blockchain or IoT will improve your GDP by multiple points. Even in Europe, they're talking about 10 to 15% per year from 2025. In India, it's going to be much bigger. So these things contribute to economy. That's the first thing that you have to understand. Second thing is, we also know that all other countries do not have what we have, that is the resources. There's so much of youth available today, and they are very well informed and being trained. You will be surprised. Countries like Japan and Australia, I'm not telling from something from a read in a newspaper. It has come to me, asking me to identify 100 blockchain programmers, which they want, whom they want to allow to, immigrate to Australia or Japan. So that is the kind of thing that we are looking at. Every country is going to be looking at it. In 5 years' time, you can see agriculture to government to everywhere, blockchain is going to be implemented, and you have no choice. It's like, in a railway station, in a metro in Tokyo or in Mumbai Rail, or in a street like Ranganathan Street in Chennai, you just stand in the corner, you will be pushed to the destination without any your attempt. So that's what it's going to be. So it's a very exciting place. Recently, I was talking to viewers. We are talking about putting IoT, authenticating it with geos tagging, and when you buy a sari or a dress, you know very well where it has been produced and it's authenticated totally. So that's the kind of thing we are looking at in the next 4 to 5 years' time. So it's an excellent opportunity for everyone to be there. And all the mysteries, like Professor Damodaran did, the mysteries are unraveled, and we are going to be understanding more and more. So thanks a lot to Professor Damodaran, and I am very happy to, provide our Rotary Whitefield is actually giving you the Excellence Award. Can I have it on the screen? Yeah, so you can, I'm just reading out. So Rotary District 3190 and Rotary Bangalore Whitefield Central jointly bestow Rotary Vocational Excellence Award to Mr. A. Damodaran, Professor IIM, in recognition of excellence achieved in his chosen field of vocation and contributing to the good of the society for Jnana Vaividya Vocational Diversity Speaker Series presented by me, Rotarian Mohan Ravanathan, and it's signed by Dr. P.M. Radhakrishna, Rotarian Rajaraman, Rotarian Mayank Agarwal, and Rotarian Manoj Kabre as on today. Okay, thanks a lot, and excellent thing for me to offer this award, give this award. I'm very privileged to do this. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ramanathan. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Ramanathan.
Sure. Yeah, my privilege.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Rajaraman.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. Thank you, Professor Damodaran. You have explained us a very simple, very simple language what is blockchain is and how it is used. And then we are all having a lot of questions on like how it is secured, why it is like why it is so perceived as secured. All those things you have answered all. Definitely, like this is one of the best sessions we have. Thank you very much for sharing your time today. And my special thanks to our district team, DG Nagendra Prasad, and District Vocational Director, Rotary and Dr. Radhakrishna, District IT team, Rotarian Devadasan sir, and the entire RWBC team for supporting this entire event. Thank you, Rotary and Vinay, for introducing today's chief guest, Rotary and Mohan Ramanathan. Thank you, Rotary and Mohan Ramanathan, for graciously present today and give us like some more additional information about blockchain, and also presented the Vocational Service Award to the speaker. I would like to thank our guest clubs, Rotary Bangalore Abilities, Rotary Bangalore Manyata, Rotaract IBSB, Rotary Pune North, Rotaract MCC Bangalore, Rotary E Club of Bangalore, Rotary Pune Fortune, Rotaract Santiketan, Rotaract MKV Howrah, Rotary Vijayawada Midtown. Your presence made the difference. Thanks a lot for your support. I would like to thank all the Rotarians and SANETs, non-Rotarians for joining today's webinar. This event is very, you are joining makes us feel very proud, and then it is also motivating us. Before we close the session, I would like to give you the next session announcement. The next session is Making Sense of Dietary Supplements and Benefits and Risk by Mr. S. Chandrasekhar. He's a nutrition expert. It's the same next Wednesday, September 13, 6:30 p.m., the same time. I would like to invite everybody to participate that event. Thank you.
So thank you everyone for gracing the occasion, and good night.